August 18, 1945. As the world celebrated the end of World War II, one of history's most fascinating figures allegedly took his final breath. Subhas Chandra Bose, the revolutionary Indian nationalist who challenged both British colonial rule and Gandhi's non-violent approach. But did he really die in that plane crash in Taiwan, or is this one of history's greatest cover-ups? Today we dive deep into the labyrinth of conspiracy theories surrounding the disappearance of the man Indians call Netaji, the respected leader. Before we explore the mystery, we must understand the man. Born in 1897 in Cuttack, Subhas Chandra Bose was brilliant from an early age. By 1920, he had graduated from Cambridge University with honors and qualified for the prestigious Indian Civil Service. But Bose rejected a comfortable government position to join India's freedom struggle. His philosophy was clear: India's independence would not come through non-violence alone, but through revolutionary means if necessary. This put him at odds with Gandhi and the mainstream Congress party leadership. By 1939, Bose had twice been elected president of the Indian National Congress, but resigned due to differences with Gandhi. What followed was extraordinary. A daring escape from British house arrest, a perilous journey across Afghanistan and the Soviet Union to Nazi Germany and eventually to Imperial Japan. In Southeast Asia, he reorganized the Indian National Army with Japanese support, raising the battle cry, "Give me blood and I shall give you freedom." His audacious plan to march through Burma into India, trigger a revolution and force the British out. But history had other plans. With Japan's surrender in 1945, Bose's military campaign collapsed, and then came August 18th, the day that launched 1,000 conspiracy theories. The official story is straightforward. Bose boarded a Japanese Mitsubishi Ki-21 bomber at Taihoku Airport in Taiwan, headed for Manchuria and eventually the Soviet Union. Shortly after takeoff, the overloaded aircraft suffered engine failure. During the crash landing, Bose was severely burned when the fuel tank exploded. According to Japanese doctors, Bose was conscious in the hospital but succumbed to his injuries that evening, reportedly uttering his final words, "India will ultimately be free." His body was allegedly cremated on August 20th, and the ashes were eventually enshrined at Renkoji Temple in Tokyo, where they remain to this day. This version of events was confirmed by the Shah Nawaz Committee in 1956 and the G.D. Khosla Commission in 1970, both Indian government investigations that concluded Bose died in the crash. But many questions remain unanswered. Why was there no medical report? Why was the cremation conducted with such haste? Where are the photographs of Bose's injured body? And more importantly, why did his family never fully accept this version of events? These questions gave birth to what may be India's most enduring mystery. The most persistent alternative theory suggests Bose never died in that crash, but made his way to the Soviet Union. Remember, this was his intended destination to seek Stalin's support for India's continuous freedom struggle. According to this theory, Bose survived the crash, or it never happened at all, and reached Soviet-controlled Manchuria. But once there, Stalin faced a dilemma. Bose was an anti-imperialist hero, but also someone who had collaborated with the fascist powers. Rather than support or publicly execute him, Stalin allegedly chose a third option: secret imprisonment in Siberia. Proponents claim Bose became prisoner number 9 in the notorious Yakutsk prison camp. The evidence for the Russian theory comes from multiple sources. First, numerous travelers and diplomats reported sightings of Bose in Russia throughout the late 1940s and early 1950s. Second, when Nehru visited the USSR in 1956, he allegedly made an unusual request to see specific prisoner records, which Soviet officials denied. In 1996, the Russian government handed over files to India supposedly proving they had no information about Bose. However, scholars noted these files were suspiciously thin and potentially sanitized. The KGB archives from that period remain partially sealed. In intelligence circles, it's understood that the most sensitive files about foreign agents and political prisoners were never fully digitized or included in the general archives. The Russian connection remains one of the most compelling theories, fueled by Cold War intrigue and the Soviet Union's known practice of harboring and sometimes imprisoning foreign revolutionaries. Perhaps the most fascinating theory originates not from international espionage but from a modest neighborhood in Uttar Pradesh where a mysterious holy man lived in seclusion for decades. Known as Gumnami Baba or Bhagwan Ji, this ascetic lived behind a curtain. Communicating with visitors through written notes, he never allowed photographs and maintained extreme secrecy about his identity until his death in 1985. When authorities inventoried his belongings, they discovered something astonishing. Over 2,000 items, including spectacles similar to Bose's, numerous books in Bengali, detailed family photographs of the Bose family, and correspondence discussing the freedom movement. I never saw his face directly. He would sit behind a curtain, but his knowledge of Bengal's history and the independence movement was extraordinary. He could recall details that only someone who lived through those events would know. An elderly man speaking Hindi with English subtitles told. Handwriting experts who compared Gumnami Baba's writings with Bose's notes cite similarities. Furthermore, several of Bose's former associates secretly visited this hermit and reportedly recognized their leader. Why would Bose return to India and live as a hermit? Proponents suggest he became disillusioned after learning that his one-time alias, including some in the newly formed Indian government, had labelled him a war criminal for his alliance with Axis powers. In 1999, the Indian government established the Mukherjee Commission to investigate this connection. In a stunning conclusion, Justice Mukherjee determined that Bose did not die in the Taiwan plane crash, though he stopped short of confirming the Gumnami Baba connection. In an unprecedented move, the Indian government rejected the Commission's finding in 2006, fueling further speculation about a cover-up. The mystery deepened when DNA testing of Gumnami Baba's teeth produced inconclusive results due to poor preservation.